is the biggest and most expensive Beneteau you can buy. It's the Beneteau Grand Trawler 63. I'm going to reveal the price later on in the video, but let me tell you, at this price point, it is rubbing shoulders with some seriously good kit. But I tell you, this is a thing full of surprises. Maybe most importantly, its range. This Beneteau will do 2,500 nautical miles. So it's not just a trawler by name, and that's only the beginning of one of the most interesting boats that I think Beneteau has ever produced. Let's have a look around, shall we? I'm Jack Haines. You're watching YachtBuyer. The aft deck design really changed the tone, the approach of the trawler range when they brought in this model. I mean, look how open it is, all this glass here in the transom, loads of space in the cockpit, but we'll get there in a moment. What have we got down here on the bathing platform? Well, it's really big. Look at the size of it, and hydraulic, so it sinks down into the water, and it's got some other nice tricks as well, because you've got steps built in to help you down into the sea. You also got built-in dinghy chocks, so you can launch, recover, and of course carry your tender back here. And there's some more practical stuff, because right down here we have a big hatch, which leads to an equally big ladder. That just flips over the side, and again gives you really nice access in and out of the water if the platform hasn't been sunk down into the sea. Right, so look at that cockpit. You've also got a deck shower here, and there's a cassette passerelle that extends out from underneath the deck. And underneath me, there's actually a really impressive crew cabin with direct access to the engine room. We're going to go there at the end of the tour. Now, this cockpit, loads and loads of space, and they really wanted it to be open and clear on purpose. There's no fixed furniture here, as you can see. You've got bean bags. Now, I'd argue that a setup like the Swift Trawler 54 over there, with a little bit of fixed seating, might be better, because you're always going to be having to move this around. You can't really easily dine out here, which people are maybe going to want to do. Of course, there is dining on the Flybridge, as we'll see in a moment, but I'd say that the openness, a nice idea. In reality, people probably want a bit of furniture, but I do like this transom arrangement. If you are slouched down in your beanbag, you've got a lovely view out. You know, the glass means you're not blocked off at all from the sea. And check out these boarding gates. That's nice, isn't it? How they just slide across. You've got those on both sides, obviously, so you can protect this area if you've got little ones wandering around in here. Now, it's a big wide space, so nice to have this handhold above my head as well, so I can steady myself. And you've got the usual stuff like your big cleats, rope bins as well, so you can run the tails in there so they're not sitting on the deck. And nice to have boarding gates on both sides, so if you are side 2, you have to go down to the low bathing platform to get onto the quayside. Steps up to the Flybridge, we're going to go there in a moment. The other thing you have here as an option is the third station for the joystick. Now, it's a shaft drive boat. You've got joysticks at both helms. I'll talk more about that when we get to them, but this means that you have full control from back here in the cockpit, which is always quite nice, especially if you're mooring stern too. Okay, let's head up front. Safe and practical, that is a theme on all the Swift trawlers, and obviously this is the biggest one, the Grand Trawler. It's a really easy boat to move around. You feel nice and protected. If you're much taller than 6 foot, this is going to be a little bit cramped, but actually directly above there's a little bit more headspace. But it is nice to have this protection and the handholds as you move forward. Fully symmetrical decks as well. Some other nice features. First one, that door, which I walked straight past, but you've got doors on both sides, so if the breeze, like it is now, is funneling down the side decks, you can protect the cockpit by closing those doors. Things like having the fillers hidden away down here. Got the diesel fillers here with drains, so that's all nicely tucked away. And then you've got water here, so that's all very easy to access on the side deck. You can run your hoses up there, and again, that just makes life really quite easy. There are side doors on both sides. This is a nice big one. We're going to see the effect better once we get inside, but really good to have that. You know, I said there's a crew cabin, but a lot of these boats will be run by owners, so being able to get in and out easily is really effective, and the flow around this boat is very impressive, as we'll see in a moment. Practical stuff continues. Big storage voids on both sides for chucking things like covers for this area, lines. You might even get a couple of fenders in there as well. Really convenient that that's here on the bow where you're going to be doing the crewing. Railings, still a pretty good height, so you loop all the way around, so you do feel really secure when you're moving around this thing. But they realise that trawlers, especially at this size and this price, we're talking about 2.5 million quid, need to have a few more creature comforts. So you've got a nice sunbathing space here with the built-in cup holders, adjustable headrests, this bench with adjustable backrests so you can sit and put these up. and use this as a bit of a bench when you're coming into port. That's nice. More practical stuff. We have a very big split anchor locker. So big, in fact, there's a ladder down into it, but it's nice and segmented. It's easy to get down there. You can get to the windlass very easily, and the anchor is well clear of the front of the boat as well, so you didn't have it dinging into the hull on the way back in. Now, one of the really nice things about this design is the way the Flybridge connects to the inside. So let's pop upstairs and have a look. Now, one of my favourite features on this boat is on this deck. We're going to come to that in a moment, but let's start right at the back, which feels quite similar to downstairs. They've gone for this whole open freestanding furniture thing again. Arguably some fixed furniture might be a bit more useful, but what I think will probably happen is this will just become a place where you stow toys. It's perfect to stack the paddleboards up out the way, not cluttering up the deck down there, and plenty of space to work with them as well. Nice glass transom, mimics downstairs, so again it has that nice connection to the water, feels a bit more premium than just having railings there, and the teak finish is nice as well. The practical stuff is always a thought on a Beneteau. So you have this dedicated spot here to mount your life raft at the top of the boat, exactly where you want it if the boat happens to be sinking. And look how long this deck is. This is the nice thing about the trawler design. It inherently has a very long top deck, which gives you space for a really nice big bar, fringed with a handhold, covered in leather. That's a nice bit of detail. Kenyan grill up here, fridge of course, and a sink. So you can easily serve people who will be sitting over here in the dinette. Just about enough space to squeeze in a couple of nice freestanding chairs. The table will fold up as well, so if you're just using it to sit and not dining, you can fold these in, and it just makes it a little bit easier to move around, and it reveals a nice handhold if you're rolling around a bit up here, and some cup holders too. And there's little details that, you know, at this price point, Beneteau know they have to bring in. This is not big stuff, but it's just having the teak here in the stainless steel. You're not going to see that on the smaller boats. So you do see these little bits of enhanced detail all over the place, especially in the interior, as we'll see in a moment. Right, upper helm. This is nice. Couple of comfortable bucket seats. Good commanding position, set a little bit low, but I can just about see the bow. But what I really like is you've got pretty much as much information as you've got downstairs. Triple Raymarine MFD, so you can split your information really easily. It's a pretty simple, clean arrangement, but again, practical stuff's good. A couple of handholds here, again, they're trimmed in leather. You're not going to get that on the cheaper ones. Big cup holders here that are big enough to also be a phone holder. A couple more up there too, and the seats bolster, so if your view isn't feeling particularly good, if you're a little bit shorter than that, with the throttle right underneath your hand is really nice and great. Then a mate can join you as well. There's L-shaped seating over on that side too, so you can have, you know, 4 or 5 people all sitting looking forward when the boat's cruising along, which is nice. Now, my favourite feature, I love that they've included this. We just don't see it too often in modern designs, but as well as that access down there at the Flybridge in the cockpit, you can lift this hatch and through a staircase you're down right to the lower helm. Brilliant. How could I forget the hardtop? I nearly went downstairs without talking about this thing over my head. What I like about this is how high it is. Clearance is really good. We're actually up a step here to create space down there. It drops down aft, so you have got plenty of space above your head. It's got a built-in sunroof, nice canvas roof, but you can have a silent boat pack. Replace that with solar panels, meaning you can run everything overnight, stabilisers, aircon for 8 hours, so Beneteau say. Right, let's take the staircase and head downstairs. Well, here we go then, on the main deck. Great space there, so when I talk about the ease of flow, this is what I mean. You can get up and down through here, through the steps in the cockpit, side doors on both sides. On this deck we have the helm right forward, you have your dinette, more amidships opposite the galley, and then right aft that's all dedicated to lounging space. But let's start with the helm and then we'll work backwards. Now this is a more serious feeling helm than upstairs. They're much bigger. Look at the size of that wheel as well. It's proper ship's wheel, isn't it? And again, the design is really nice. Now the screens are a little bit far away, but I have got a control here, so I don't have to reach too far forward to get to them. And again, like upstairs, I like the fact you've got 3 screens. They're not huge, but that's quite good, because if they're any bigger, they'd be restricting your view of the windscreen. But it means, like for example, you can split them. So chart, I've got the engine information right in the middle, and then the radar. Exactly what you need when you're cruising along. Engine options. This boat's got 1 engine option. MAN 730 horsepower for a top speed of about 20 knots. It's a semi-planing design, but it's designed to be super efficient at displacement speeds. So at 9 knots, you're looking at 1,000 nautical miles. Pretty good. 5 knots, you can bear it. I mean, that's very slow, but theoretically it'll do 2,500 nautical miles at 5 knots. It comes as standard with stabilizers for that reason, because at 5 knots in a big sea, you will be rolling around a fair bit on a boat like this, so the stabilizers are pretty key. As I said back there, you have got a joystick as an option that combines the thrusters and the props, but you've also got independent bow and stern thruster. So yes, it's quite big. Yes, there's quite a lot of windage probably, but with all of these controls, it should be pretty easy to handle. And I like the fact that at this helm, you are right in the middle of the boat. That said, the navigator is a little bit pinned in, though they can just scoot around the outside and get out to go aft to the saloon. Nice, again, like upstairs, that you've got this seating area as well. If you are just drifting along at 9 knots, nice place to lie and, you know, watch the world go by. Very nice. Okay, let's move aft and look at the saloon. So first thing is you have the dinette. A little bit irregular to have the dinette here, but it kind of makes sense on a boat like this. It's a bit closer to the driving position if you're moving along and eating on passage. All of this is quite close and easy to get to. There is space to put a couple of chairs here if you do want to dine on this side. Of course, most of the time, you're going to want to be dining outside. A midships galley, a bit like having the internal staircase. These are going a little bit out of fashion, but I always get on board a boat with this design and think, there's a lot to be said. It's nice to have the galley in the middle of the boat. On a passage maker like this, being able to pop into the galley, you can still stick your head out and check everything's okay, communicate with the helm. But you can come back here, get to the fridge, grab a drink, that sort of thing, and it's all really easy. Plus, we've got a side door here as well. Side doors on both sides. Really like that. Fridge space. This is a boat that people will want to live on board potentially for long periods of time, so reasonable size fridge. There is obviously cooling elsewhere on the boat as well. Freezer underneath, oven, 4-burner induction hob, so that's a decent size. Over here we've got a dishwasher. It's not a full-size domestic dishwasher, but you know, it helps. Have to keep on top of things. Sink here, of course. And I like the way that they've included these glass panels, so you don't feel too boxed in. I can see right to the back of the boat, and this one even opens up. Internal shout window. Hello. And moving aft, we come to the main seating area. And I've got to point this out because when brands like Princess do this, we all get very misty-eyed. But look at that. You've got dedicated spots for all your espresso cups, your coffee cups, your tea cups, proper china as well. And look, individual slots. So they should stay nice and secure when the boat's on the move. Soft closed drawers as well. Now the woodwork doesn't feel as expensive as it does on an Azimuth or a Princess or a Sunseeker, but of course it's still a Beneteau group product. They've still got an eye on the price point, even though it is, you know, knocking the door of £2.5 million. TV pops up from behind here, opposite the biggest portion of sofa. Got a little couple sofa down there, but this is a nice space. Put your feet up, watch the telly, have a chat, have a drink at the end of the night if it's not so nice to sit outside. And again, like out in the cockpit, always good to see this. Big wide space. A boat that could roll around a little bit. Very nice to have that handheld. And I talked about cooling space. They've got a wine fridge down here as well. So at least your cooling space for food isn't being gobbled up by your plonk. Nice space this. What do you think? What do you think of this design, this main deck design? I think it's really good. Let me know in the comments whether you'd rather have the galley there or a bit further aft so it connects to the cockpit. Right, let's head downstairs. Hope you're enjoying this tour so far. We've had a few requests to cover this boat, so I'm glad we managed to do it. If you are enjoying it, remember to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you're notified every time we upload a new tour. Right, the lower deck, there are a couple of different configurations down here. This particular boat is the 3-cabin version, so you have a VIP forward, there's a day head, a twin cabin, and then a midships you have a really nice full beam owner's cabin, though as an option you can split that in 2 and give yourself 4 cabins if you need more sleeping space. This 3-cabin one, we're going to start forward with the VIP, where we find an angled berth just to try and maximise the floor space in here. But what it also does really well is make the most of these huge windows. The glass area in this cabin is really impressive. I really like how the bed head kind of turns to glass behind the bed, and then when you're lying down you can genuinely see out over the water, which isn't always the case. You've got these huge hull windows, but they don't maximise the orientation of the cabin to mean you can actually enjoy the view. Not the problem here. Right forward they have manufactured in some storage, and there's a little bit more storage underneath. Of course you've got bedside tables, quite big bedside tables with storage too. And again, it's the details that you're not going to see on the smaller trawlers, like having these nice lamps on either side. Not only have you got the sort of uplighters, but I Nice bendy reading lamps as well, chargers, that sort of thing. There's a little bit more storage down here, and then a really nice private bathroom. Look at this. The most impressive thing is the head height. Look, I can, hands right up, and I'm not touching the ceiling. That's mega. And it's next to the shower, so it's perfect. You have got good space to have a shower in this VIP. And again, I just really like the architecture around here. It's not typically what you're going to see on a Beneteau, but it looks really, really good. Still practical though. Storage underneath, nice big mirror, fiddles on all the edges, so you can put stuff up here and it's not going to fly off, and 2 portholes so you can get the steam out if you are having a shower. Let's carry on amidships. There is a nice big day head. So 3 cabins, 3 bathrooms, great for privacy. That again is an excellent size with a really good shower cubicle. And this is also the ensuite for the twin. So this twin has a door directly into that area, which is nice. And again, what stands out, mega head heights. Here again, I can, on my toes, I'm still not touching the ceiling. And even when you get to the top of the bed, it's really comfortable to move around in here. You could sleep 6 adults on this thing, no problem. The only thing that's a bit limited, certainly in this cabin, is clothes and bag storage. Because you're looking at, you know, it's okay, but it's not huge. If you want to have lots of people on board for a long period of time, you're just a little bit low on that type of storage. Not an issue in the owner's cabin, as we will soon discover. So you're down a couple of steps here, but then again, once you're through the doorway, head heights go through the roof. Terrible pun, but you get the idea. There's no issue moving around this thing. Totally flat floor as well, so there are a few level changes as you walk around the passageways, but in this cabin, it's all flat. You don't have to mind where you're walking, and there's plenty of space in here. Storage on both sides. A big bureau. Look at that. That's really nice, isn't it? And again, you really get the benefit of these huge windows. There's so much natural light in here. This is a light colour scheme, darker ones are available, but I think the oak works quite well. It doesn't maybe look that expensive, but it really brightens up all these cabin areas. This boat hasn't got its spec, but this is where your TV would be. Again, nice that it's in a wooden frame, and there's just loads of storage arranged underneath that section. Big bed as well. Really comfortable cabin. This is somewhere where you genuinely, like, you could be on board for a few weeks and still feel really comfortable. And it's the same case in the bathroom. Of course, this is totally private. Another huge ensuite. Head height's excellent, loads of room, loads of floor space in here. Not always the case in a head on this type of boat. You know, Tecmar loos as well, so the components are a bit more expensive. It's all those little touches. Nice amount of space here. The fiddled edges I've been talking about, and again, lovely big separate shower cubicle and the headroom. Marvellous, really impressive accommodation space. And actually, the crew cabin's a bit of a surprise as well, so let's head there. Now, I think Beneteau has designed this area really intelligently because it feels more like a utility space with a cabin attached to it than trying to shoehorn a crew cabinet onto a boat that probably isn't going to use crew anyway. So you've got your washer dryer down here. There's an inflator up there for your inflatable toys, so you can blow them up really easily from down this area. You've got a separate toilet and shower room, good for the crew obviously, but also means people can pop down from the bathing platform, use the toilet and go back out without having to go into the boat. Obviously head heights nowhere near as good as further forward in the boat, but still okay if you're 6 foot tall. And the cabin itself, well, you know what, this isn't bad. A couple of berths sort of arranged in an L shape like this, just about stand up here in the entranceway. To be honest, you may not use it for crew, but you know, for kids, teenagers, if you want to pack the boat with guests occasionally, this is a pretty nice space. The other thing to point out is there is a quick access hatch, because of course you're not always going to be able, or you're not always going to want to come down to the bathing platform to get to the engine room. So there's a hatch here. This leads up to the cockpit, ladder through a watertight door, and we're into the engine space, which, oh yeah, is a bit tight on the way through as I knock my microphone off. But once you're in, again, just under 6 foot of headroom in here, but relatively compact MAN engines, and that means you can get around them pretty easily. It's often quite hard to get outboard of these engines, but there's plenty of clearance above them too, so relatively easy to work on. Getting to the shafts is pretty simple as well. I can see the Sleipner fins down there. They come as standard, as I said before, so nice that again that they're easy to get to. Generator forward, and of course because you've not got a gyro because it uses fins, you've not got that gobbling up space here. So there's lots of room in this engine room. A big void down there, perfect for storage. Great access to your stainless fuel tanks on either side. And you've got twin filters with clear bowls on both sides too. So I can just take a look at the fuel and go, yep, nothing nasty in there. If there is, you can just switch over from one to the other and use the one that isn't blocked, if that happens. Pretty good machinery space, especially considering you may well be working on this boat yourself as an owner. The problem is, for a brand that's built its name on value for money, suddenly charging a couple of million quid for something does make people a little bit wary, a little bit anxious. It is going into competition with some really impressive stuff at this size and price point. And sure, there are a few too many components on there that feel like they've been brought up from smaller, cheaper Beneteaus. However, when you step back and look at what you're actually getting for your money in terms of real estate and what you can do with this thing, the range, the living space downstairs, the flexibility of the decks, I think it's a really compelling package. And if you want a boat that you can live on board comfortably for long periods of time, well, look no further. Pretty impressive, huh? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks very much for watching that tour of the Beneteau Grand Trawler 63. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe. If you haven't done so already, you can do that by clicking up there. We've tested quite a few of the other trawlers. We've got a great sea trial of the 54, the one down in the range. I'll put that up there for you. I hope you enjoyed that as well. Thanks again for watching. I'm Jack Haines. This is YachtBuyer.